Not just dust, but this is solidified human waste. Okay, it's a mixture of blood, tears, sweat, urine, feces. Yes, the entire field was where the English were buried. The only black person buried in the castle is Philip Kirkwood. Yeah, Philip was not a slave. My daddy was a supplier of slaves.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl EfyaKimora here. If you're already here, thank you so much for coming back. And today's your first time, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell for more of such interesting videos. Today's video, I'm taking you to the last castle. In today's video, I'm taking you to the slave castle in Cape Coast Castle in the central region of Ghana to learn about how our ancestors were being enslaved and moved out of the country and their identity were lost forever. Without wasting too much time, let's get right into the video. Let's go.
This is the last and the third castle built by the Europeans. This was built by the English around 1664. Elmina was built by the Portuguese around 1482. And then Christian World Castle was built by Denmark around 1661. The question is, why did these Europeans come to Africa? They came saying they were looking for gold, ivory, spices. But as time went on, the reason for coming to Africa changed to needing people. One of the same Europeans said they discovered the Americas. Yeah, discovering the Americas, they established sugarcane, tobacco, coffee, cotton plantations, that they needed people to work for them. They used the Native Americans, others choose to call them the Red Indians. But this was what Chapukalitu. Okay, so they were the originals of America, where Trump and his people are staying right now. Yeah, so they used them on the plantations, but these guys were not so strong compared to Africans. They could not cope with the European chicken pox, measles, influenza. Yeah, to save the Native Americans from total extinction, from dying out, a Roman Catholic priest called Bartolomeo de las Casas suggested that go get Africans. Africans are the best replacement because Africans have been blessed with strength. That we've got muscles. So yes, the Europeans came. When they came, they found us in the midst of wars, in wars of expansion. We were divided among ourselves, that we couldn't come together, identify the enemies to go after them. So yes, the scripture is true. If there is a home which is divided in itself, the home cannot stand. So when the Europeans came, they used our division to raid us, to kidnap us all by themselves, to the point that they could set people's homes on fire. While people were running for their lives, they were captured at gunpoint, till they realized they were not having the number of people they were looking for. Now they needed another plan that was to work with the local leaders, the chiefs and the kings, who were in the midst of wars, but using non-powerful weapons like knife, bow, arrows. The Europeans had guns, gunpowder, so they talked to them. We can help you out by giving you these powerful weapons in exchange for your prisoners of war, criminals and people who were on you. Yeah, so the slaves were captured as far as Nigeria, Burkina Faso, to the Benin. They marched them to the Europeans, this very castle. And this castle straight to Palapa Hall, there's a place, that was the auctioning block where the slaves were branded according to the names of the companies that bought them. After branding, the males were brought here. This is the male slave dungeon. The females to the female slave dungeons to wait for the ships to come get them to the Americas, as well as to Europe, to go work on the plantations, as well as the mines of the Europeans. We have 5 rooms, 5 sections in the male dungeon, and each of the rooms could hold about 150 to 200 men.
150 to 200?
Yeah. In all the 5, each of the 5 rooms. So if we put all the rooms together, we have about 1,000 people in here. These funerals, being your social life in here. And being inside here, there wasn't anything like, I feel like easing myself. I'll use the washroom. If you felt like doing anything of such, you did it on here. So the original floor we're standing on got covered with solidified human waste till 1974, where this room went through excavation by some archaeological students from Ghana, Legon. It was after digging and discovered the floor was made with bricks. That was the level of the solidified human waste. So this was filled up with human feces mixed with their blood, their sweat, their urine, the food particles, and any other thing that was human. They did not take all of it away. They left a portion for us. So what we have here is not just the dust, but this is solidified human waste. Okay, it's a mixture of blood, tears, sweat, urine, feces, food particles, and any other thing the slaves left behind. I know this because the student had to take sample for testing, and the results said what I just said. The Europeans who came to Africa did not just come here as traders. Okay, there are some of them who came saying they have a message on their lips. Yeah, they tell Africans that anything they do without Jesus Christ will kill them. That Jesus Christ is the fountain of life, and that in His light we see light. What I mean by this is some of them came here as missionaries, with the intention to spread the gospel. Therefore, it was necessary for them to have churches. But they chose to build the churches on top of the dungeon. So if you go to Elmina, you find the Dutch Reformed Church in the female dungeon. Presby Church started in Mosul Castle, and right above this room was the SBC Church, Society for the Propagation of the Gospel, now the Anglican Church. So all your people dining here, these Anglicans claim to be worshiping God above through Jesus Christ of Nazareth. So the question will be, why would they build peace on top of chaos? Why would they build a church on top of a dungeon where they're suffering? What do you think? God will add to it, mention two types of reasons. Because we can talk about the faith reason, and we can talk about the judgment reason. According to the faith reason, the church was built on top of the dungeon to signify God's sovereignty over our pain, our sufferings. So whatever we go through in this life, as omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent God is, He sees everything. If God has the power to stop all the sufferings, why is it that He doesn't? It is simply because God needs us to grow. And you cannot grow in the good time when everything is well with you. You grow when there is a bit of pressure. When you feel like giving up because the work is too much and your strength is gone. But after all the prayers, after all the fasting, the one you love dies in your hands. But you still have to look up to God and trust Him for life. Yeah, this is what Job would say, though He slangs me, yet will I trust Him. This sounds crazy, but this is the reason why the Europeans believe that Africans are the byproduct of the curse pronounced on the Canaanite. That when Ham saw Noah's nakedness, Noah cursed Ham's son of the Canaanite. There were slaves upon slaves for their own brothers. I learned that in Hebrew, the word Ham, H-A-M, means hot, burnt, or black. And since Africans were black in complexion, the Europeans concluded that Africans are the cursed people. What did we do to be cursed? They said we sinned. Where do you find sinners when they die? In hell. In hell. And where do you find righteous people? In heaven. So the church on top of the dungeon was a concept of heaven. When the ships are ready, the slaves, they now go through the same door we came through. They had to go through an underground passage, which was here. At that time, this shrine you see was absent, was not here. All that was here was the entrance of the tunnel, where the slaves in chains and shackles walked through to the door of no return. But it's blocked around 1834 to mark the end of the slave trade. And that was led by Captain George McLean, the same McLean we read about in school. Comparing this room to the rest of the rooms, what do you see? It's simply because here was a selection room. Okay, not all the slaves could go through the passage when the ships came, because there were some of them were so weak to the point that they could not see or walk. Those who were thus broken were left in there to allow the strong ones exit. After that, these weak souls were removed for them to wait for the next ships without any medical attention. Okay, so meaning how well they became was dependent on the immunity of the body, how strong the immune system was. The grace found during time that he survived. We praise Christ Jesus, but if he died, there was no burial of any black slave here. All of them were dumped into the sea. That's why you look around, we have all these wreaths and flowers that were brought in by tourists to pay homage to those who died. To my left is a shrine. The stone is sealed with money on top, with blood all around. It is a sea god, which used to form part of the old rock on which the castle was built. But after our local people sold the land to the Europeans stopped the Africans from worshiping the whole rock. As we speak to you right now, we still have Africans who did not believe in the name of Jesus Christ. Yes, the entire field was where the English were buried. The only black person buried in the castle is Philip. Yeah, Philip was not a slave. My daddy was a supplier of slaves. Because of his father's role, the decision of the daddy, his son was granted scholarship to go to England. In Oxford University, when he was of age, he attended it. He studied theology. 24 years old, he was sent back to Ghana and was made the first African and Philip was simply called Kweku, but then in England, the Kweku was corrupted to Kwaku, and then they gave him the Christian name Philip after his baptism in England. He was born in 1741, died in 1816 at the age of 75. This is C.B. Whitehead. He was a soldier for the English. At the age of 38, he died. Here we have Letitia Elizabeth London, the wife of Captain George McLean. McLean was a governor here. At the age of 46, malaria confirmed killed him. His wife came to visit him, but 2 months upon arrival, she was discovered dead. The husband was dead. Connected to the walls like the sea, so each time it rained, it traveled through right here. It was the same thing the masters had to drink, but the masters only went through a cleaning process. They would boil it, filter it, before they took it. But the blacks had to drink it without any treatment, because they believed that Africans were naturally blessed with muscles, with strength, and they could take it anything and would be less harmed by it. Okay, so we're seeing part of the underground passage. In the last room, I mentioned the slaves had to walk through something. You remember? As they moved from that space in chains and shackles, past this end to the door of no return. Nobody could go in and nobody could come out. Yet this was simply an observatory where the soldiers would stand to make sure the slaves were moving. There are no steps, so please watch out and be careful, okay? We have no insurance to cover anybody. Towards the end of the underground passage, right here, the slaves had to go through the door of no return, which was here. But the door was blocked because of the encroachment of the sea. See, the sea was coming here, creeping in, distracting the whole business. So what they did was to block it, to make another door of no return outside the room, so they could continue the trade in peace and not in pieces. Okay, so this was a female prison for the females who had the audacity to say no to sexual abuse. If you resisted rape, you were brought here for 2 weeks maximum punishment. If you were here for more than 2 weeks, then you were still not given to rape, then the English had to humble, break your spirit by letting you carry some of the hidden balls, the big ones. You carry more than one of them in your hands, and you want to walk with them. As weak as the female slaves were, they had to walk with them. As you walk with them, if any of the balls fell, that meant agreement to be raped. Yeah, meaning nobody escaped it because the balls are heavy. You're brought back to the female dungeon to wait for the ships to come take you to where you deserve, to the Americas, to go work on the plantations of people who were made in the image and the likeness of God, but the Nazi Africans and such. There's a small hole here, that's where they had to pass out urine and feces. The food was placed here. They were to be fed twice a day, but for their punishment, they were fed once a day. Okay, so this is one of the female dungeons. We have two. The other one right there. Each of them could also hold about 150 to 200 women. Yeah, with the 3 holes here to give them life in the air. Those who were sexually abused, some were found pregnant. If you're found pregnant here, they took you outside the castle where they built stone houses for you. You'll be taken care of by some English doctors and nurses, midwives. After giving birth, they give you some grace period to breastfeed the kid, wean the kid, and kind of get well. When that was done, the kid was ripped apart from the mama, and the mama brought back here to wait for the next ships. Okay, but if you're not fortunate to be found pregnant here, and you're found pregnant on the ship, some will turn overboard. The reasons being that being pregnant, you become weak, that it will give them extra work to do. You know, pregnant women need extra time. Yes. But the Europeans on the ship and in the ship were not ready for that. Yeah, this was the final exit door of no return. From here, the slaves were taken to places like Cuba, Jamaica, Virginia, Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, Liverpool, Manchester, Bristol, London, Brazil, Haiti, and the rest, to go work on their plantations and the mines. In Africa, when in kids, according to the days they were born, I'm asserting they're born proudly. So I'm Emma, David Smith, Thompson, Jackson, Hanson. How do you trace your roots with these names if oral tradition is not well preserved? Let's go through the door of no return. But we're coming back, okay? This place was too shallow. That's why the ships could not come here. Okay. So they would transfer. There is another inscription on the door. Yeah, we had this in August 1998 during the Emancipation Day Festival. Last week we did celebrate that, right? It was Puna Fest. Yeah. And so at that time, 2 black bones, ancestral bones, were exhumed from their graves. One was taken from New York. His name was Samuel Casson. The other from Jamaica, Madame Crystal. These black bones were sent back to Ghana by plane. But when they got to Atlantis, they decided to come by the same route to the sea, to this very castle, to the same door of never coming back. Enough, they had to create cells. So this was a condemned cell. It was for the male slaves who fought back, who had the audacity to challenge the English, who proved themselves to be the Shadrachs, the Meshachs, and the Abednego. They would never bow to the god of transatlantic slave trade. So they fought back. Yeah, those who fought back were brought here to die. They were given nothing to eat. There is nothing to drink. There is no air. There is no light. Yeah, we call this room the room of no return. Because whoever went there alive came back dead. Yeah, and this is the only original door left in the castle. Watch your hands. Don't carry the castle home. So they have 3 doors to make three doors. 1, 2, 3. And all of these doors were locked. So day in, day out, the soldiers would come find out who's dead, who's not. Those who are dead were not taken out. The living stayed here with the dead. They locked all the 3 doors. Went back, came back the next day. They had to do that till they found the last person dead. Well, that happened because they could not tolerate the stench. They went for some of the male slaves and forced them to come carry the dead bodies of their own brothers. Carry the dead bodies and lay them. Call the rest of the slaves to have a look at what happened to the most stubborn slaves. And when that was done, the dead bodies were tied to stones and dumped into the... This was where the slaves were sold. For guns, gunpowder, sugar, fabrics, beer, alcohol. They had companies from Liverpool, Manchester, Bristol, London. All of these companies came here, ready to buy slaves. How does a company identify that iron ore? So they branded them. Yeah, the companies had iron with the name of the company. They put that in fire red hot from that palm oil. From that mill, your chest. The males and the females were put into their respective dungeons. It is one of the reasons in the good old days, African mamas and papas never liked us marking our bodies. Right? Have a double piercing all over it, having some chains here. It is not to say you're a bad person, but each time they see that, it reminds them of what happened in the past. They look to see if you're still a slave. And one person occupied the entire space. In Ghana, we call the white people, the Akans call the white people Abrofa, right? Yeah, I learned it originated from the local word Aburobi or Aburofo. Okay, many people who knew what was good but chose evil. Because if one person could stay here, then the English knew what was good. If you came to Africa saying that Africa is a dark continent because you're worshiping so many gods and that you brought in the incorruptible life of Jesus, then you knew what was good. But when you came, you saw money, gold, you chose gold and money over Jesus. And then you used Jesus Christ as a bait to get more wealth. People looked at them and said, hey, you guys, they're so wicked that we're going to call you that we corrupted and anglicized the word to mean white people or furries. That's why you can even call it fur. Let's see the better. No, this was the living room. Yeah, so this was the bedroom for the governor, and this was where the governor's wife was found dead with a bottle of acid in the hand. There's a structure they built on top of the hill surrounded by trees. You see that?
Yeah.
We call that Fort William. It was built by the English to protect the castle. So in the daytime, they reflect mirror. At night, they show a red flag with anything red to signify danger. So the soldiers would get ready for war. That's why you see all the cannons and cannonballs around. To the reception room. They were entertained here with music, with food, with drinks, and with black women. Okay, rape in the castle was not necessarily a crime. It was simply a source of entertainment and their way of saying, thank you for trading with us. Let's see the key. So the English brought these for war. They were attacked by the locals like the Ashantis, as well as their own brothers, the Europeans, example French. The French and the English have now been friends, as well as the English and the Ashantis. So if they saw any of the enemy ship coming, then what they did was to load some of the boats. The boats, some of them have holes in them, so they'll pour gunpowder. Then they will insert them. There is a hole where they'll slaughter matches. They then release the balls with speed. The balls will hit the ship. The impulse of the ship, so the ship will sink. In Ghana, if it is 12 o'clock, we say what?
Premoato.
Thank you. So every 12 o'clock, they will shoot us to announce their presence in Ghana. And in the local dialect, we call this Premu.
Okay.
Understand? So because every 12 o'clock, this thing was shot.
Okay.
first African Anglican church. Yeah, it became a classroom for those kids who were born out of rape. It's now a public library, no longer church. Because Michelle Obama traced her root from here. And then we have this. Say that they are hardly guilty for what happened to us, and that we should forgive them. But the question is, are they really sorry? It will be hard to do this, to uphold this. You know why? Because we are still in the business of punishing small thieves while electing big ones into public office. It makes it hard, but not impossible. It can be done, because if it cannot be done, then we are done.
The question that I'm asking is, what if it was you? What if any of your family members were part? We are from our ancestors, so definitely we are part and we share the same story. So sad. Right now we are moving to the Fort Amsterdam in Abanze. Cape Coast is full of castles and forts, and if you're looking for the Elmina Castle, I have a video that's on my channel. You can go and check that one as well. And thank you so much for watching. Until we meet again in my next video, it's a girl EfyaKimora. I love you and bye bye.